Right. Where do I start? Okay, right. Basically, guys, this will probably be another one of those rant videos about Arsenal. I seem to do these kind of every 6 months because we always end up having a shit time eventually somewhere along the line. And today is not the first time I felt this way in the last few weeks, actually, but I haven't talked about it. And I find if I don't, it really builds up inside. And it gets to a point like today where I could snap and actually, for example, get my little puppy and twist his head so hard it snaps off. I'm that angry. Obviously, I wouldn't do that to my little doggy, but you know what I mean. I get so angry inside that I need to vent it. So I do apologise if you don't like a negative video about football. But to be honest, as an Arsenal fan, we go through this pretty much every year and I need to vent. Now, what I will do is start off with a positive. Start off with the positives, I guess. Arsenal have Ramsey back, and he looked like he was okay. He obviously didn't play the whole game, and he didn't play to the best he's ever played, but he is back, and he didn't look like he'd been out injured, actually. He looked like he, just came on in the second half and kind of got a little bit involved, which is good news. The other positive is it wasn't a 6-0, it was only a 3-0. Sorry if I've just ruined the result for you, but yeah, you shouldn't click this video otherwise. But yeah, that is a positive actually, believe it or not, that we didn't get absolutely smashed to pieces. Well, we did on the pitch, but we didn't lose 6-1, 6-0, we didn't lose 6-3, we didn't lose 5-1. It could have been much worse than 3-0 actually, so that is a positive, although it's basically a negative because we still lost 3-0. And the fact we didn't score, although Sonogo did score in the last few minutes and it wasn't offside, even though it was disallowed, shit like that happens. And it turns out as well, Everton's second goal was offside, but, it doesn't even matter. Fuck it. The amount of times that, we bring up excuses like that when we've lost, it's just time to face the fact, guys. All of you Arsenal fans out there that, don't think that that was a fair result, you need to get your head out of your arse. It was an awful performance from Arsenal, and it was a fantastic performance from Everton. Actually, I want to talk about Everton really quick because, you know what? I really do like Everton. Before this match, I said to myself, if they win this game, it's because they deserve it, right? I think they've been fantastic over the last few months, actually all season. Martinez is doing a crazy good job there. Shows what happens when you sack Moyes and get Martinez, right? And I think they fully deserve Champions League football after today. I think that because Arsenal have been, a little bit complacent, maybe we led the table for, I think it was 128 days. That's a long time to be top of the Premier League table. And we got cocky and we lost it all. We obviously got a lot of injuries, but let's face it, all the players that are fit are underperforming. So it's not just injuries that's ruined this season. I guess I'm moving on to the negatives now then, am I? Wenger, again, tactically inept today. Absolutely woeful tactics. And you know what pisses me off the most? It's the fact he just sits down and he takes it. He just sits down and he's like watching the game like we are at home. I was on the edge of my seat. I was screaming, move into positions, look, cut back, make space. He's just sitting there with a fucking cup of tea and biscuit, having a little chin wag with the fucking staff members. We're losing 3-0 here. Do you mind getting up? The camera would often go on Arsene Wenger and show him sitting down. And then in the minute or so, or it would pan to Martinez. And he's up. And he's barking commands. He's 3-0 up at this point. And he's still getting into his players' minds off the pitch. He's still telling them what to do, instructions. I noticed when they counter-attacked, this was at 3-0 up. They ran down the pitch and he was screaming at Baines to stay back in case Arsenal get the ball on the counter-attack. Wenger doesn't do that. And you know what? I have never once said, ever, that Wenger needs to go. But I am on the edge. I am so fucking close to saying it because after today, it does show you that all of those Wenger out people saying that he plays the same tactics every match. It doesn't matter who we play against. We play the same tactics and just hope it works. He makes poor decisions. His substitutions today, although they were good substitutions, they worked. They were too fucking late. Oxlade-Chamberlain should have started today. He had a massive impact when coming on. And you know why? Hang on, let's think. So Walcott got injured with an ACL. He's out for the rest of the season. We realised months ago now, we lack pace. Oh, so when you bring on Chamberlain, we get what? Pace. Oh my god, I'm a fucking genius. I know. So let's start Chamberlain out on the wings today because we need pace, because we're lacking pace. Nah, that's okay. I'm going to put on Cazorla, who's not putting in any effort. He was woeful today. Let's put on Rosicky, who has been playing very well but just didn't turn up today. Flamini was just... I don't know what was up with Flamini today. Just didn't do anything correct, if you ask me. He broke up a few bits of play, but so a CDM fucking should. Arteta today just spent most of the time getting angry with people and wasn't positive at all. He didn't make any good runs. I know he's a central defensive midfielder, but every time he got the ball, he passed it back or passed it to the side, which I guess you could say is what he's meant to do. He's a DM and he distributes the ball. Fair enough. Giroud, my God, I have never been so frustrated with an Arsenal player in history. And I absolutely mean that. Even Gervinho was less annoying than Giroud right now. Don't get me wrong, Giroud, I was going to say he has potential to be good, but he's already at an age now where he should be in his prime. And I've got to tell you, every week I see him now, it gets worse and worse. And he started this season so promisingly. I actually genuinely remember this, right? I woke up one morning to watch the Arsenal game. It was an early kickoff, and I sat there watching him. He was making some great runs. I remember the goal he scored against Tottenham. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy potentially is our good striker that we've needed for so long now, since, you know, the likes of Thierry Henry is gone, you know? And what's happened? We've gone into the second half of this season and he's turned into one of the slowest, the least agile, the worst dribbler. He can't pass, he can't control it, he doesn't jump, he doesn't fucking challenge in the air for anything. His defensive qualities are awful, he's sluggish, he just doesn't play properly. That's me being kind. I could lay into Giroud all day. I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal, but I believe he is good enough to be a backup striker because there are flashes of great play, and I don't know what it is right now. He's not getting it. We need a striker, and you know there's plenty of names that I could throw at you right now. Just to name a few, we could go for Mandzukic. We could go for Costa. I really doubt, though, Costa would want to join Arsenal. Fuck that. Mandzukic, I do think, is actually quite a good one to go for because, you know, Bayern are getting Lewandowski and Mandzukic obviously will not be their priority striker and he'll be looking for first-team football. And you know what? I think he could do a job for Arsenal. He's exactly what we need. Basically, a Giroud-type player who can hold up the ball, but let's face it, Mandzukic is 100 times the player that fucking Giroud is. Oh, man, this is so stressful. I just can't believe after watching that game that there are still fans on Twitter saying that we can still, you know, look at this and think, right, it's okay, we'll bounce back in the next game. It's just not happening, guys. It's just not. We are not good enough. It's as simple as that. Let's have a look at some stats. So, from the 90 minutes, of course, Arsenal did well in the possession. We had 57%. Brilliant. You know, if I had looked at this before the game and seen that the possession was going to be in our favour, I would have said, brilliant. At least that's good. Let's have a look at the shots now. It's actually pretty even. Shots, Everton had 14, Arsenal had 15. But on target, they had 8 and we had 5. It's just not good enough, not clinical enough. We had 6 corners, they had 3, which is pretty good. And the fouls were 6 for Everton and 5 for Arsenal. So when you look at those stats, you're probably looking at maybe a 2-1 victory to either of the teams, right? Or a 1-1. You know, it doesn't look like a 3-0 in the stats like that. But all that matters is the goals, and we lost 3-0. Anyway, I'll move on to some other positives now. We do have Wembley coming up. Now, I know we're in a rut right now and that most Arsenal fans are going to be so depressed. Like, my weekend's completely fucking ruined now. I'm distraught. Yeah, I'm that into Arsenal, obviously. I watch every game I can from home or at the stadium. And, you know, today is just one of those days where I will, you know, probably be really pissed off until probably Tuesday, Wednesday when it finally gets out of my system. But the positive is we do have Wembley coming up. Now, if we win that match and we are going to the final of the FA Cup, it's a lifter, isn't it? It's a mood lifter. And hopefully that will inspire the team. But the real positive out of all of this is we are still 4th, but it's down to Everton. If Everton, you know, beat Man City, I have no idea how I'm going to react to that because that is pretty much it. We're going to be 5th. And my worst nightmare, guys, I'll tell you this right now, my worst nightmare is winning the FA Cup and coming 5th. I would honestly take 4th and not have an FA Cup. I think. Because if we're not in the Champions League, we can't get players in. Who's going to want to join Arsenal when we're not even in the not in the Premier League, in the Champions League? It's just what we need to do this summer is improve the squad. We need Champions League football. So I would give up the FA Cup to get fourth now, and that's how bad this season's got. Anyway, I'm done. I appreciate you watching. I do feel better actually for venting, so maybe I'll be okay this evening to go out for a dog walk and be happy. We'll soon find out. But tomorrow, guys, there'll be another Man United career mode video. And just to remind you guys, I've seen a few comments, people wondering where Reading career mode is. Like I said in the Man United one, I am finishing the Man United career mode before I continue with Reading. I don't like doing 2 career modes at once. I've just realised again that it doesn't work for me. But thank you for watching. Please do leave a like rating. Arsenal are fucking shit.